Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Who is the most disrespectful person in your life right now? Your boss, who never acknowledges your work? That friend who talks to you like your feelings don't matter? Or the person who treats you like you're just an option? Someone's face just flashed in your mind. But here's the thing, Nietzsche says you're wrong. The person who has been the most consistently, the most deeply, the most relentlessly disrespectful toward you is you. Now I know that feels unfair to hear. You're on your own side, right? How could you possibly be disrespecting yourself? But by the end of this video, I think you're going to nod. Because some of the things we do every single day, without even thinking about them, if someone else did those exact same things to us, we would never let it slide. We've just decided it's okay when we do it to ourselves. Nietzsche warned us about this. Let's go through it, one by one. Now, we're really good at blaming other people when they treat us badly. That person is toxic. That person is immature. That person just doesn't get me. And look, that's comforting. Because if it's all their fault, we're off the hook. But Nietzsche says that's only half the story. Yes, someone else treating you with disrespect is absolutely on them. But if that disrespect becomes a pattern, if it keeps happening over and over across different people and different situations, at some point, something shifted. At some point, you started allowing it. Nietzsche wrestled with one question his entire life. Why do some people move through the world with strength and dignity, while others keep getting walked over, no matter where they go? He didn't think the answer was luck. He didn't think it was circumstances. He believed the difference came down to one thing: how seriously you take yourself. People who take themselves seriously don't get treated carelessly for long. People who don't, they can change their job, their city, their relationship, and somehow end up in the same situation again. Because here's the truth, people watch how you treat yourself, and they take their cues from that. So today, I want to show you 7 signals. 7 quiet, almost invisible ways you might be disrespecting yourself every day without even realizing it. These come straight from Nietzsche's philosophy. And once you see them, you really can't unsee them. Signal 1: you put other people's comfort above your own feelings. Someone hurt you, you're angry, you feel wronged. But if you say something, the vibe shifts. They'll be uncomfortable. You'll seem too sensitive. So you swallow it, you tell yourself you're fine, and you move on. Now, most people call that maturity. Emotional control. I don't make a big deal out of things. But Nietzsche would push back on that, hard. Because what you're actually doing is treating your inner world like it doesn't exist. Every time you suppress what you feel to protect someone else's comfort, you send yourself a message. A quiet, unconscious message. My emotions matter less than this other person's ease. And that message? It stacks. Over months. Over years. Until one day, you're not even sure if what you're feeling is real. Or if you're just being dramatic. Your emotions are not a malfunction. They're information. They're your internal GPS telling you exactly what is happening to you and how. Silencing that GPS doesn't make you easygoing. It makes you lost. The first act of self-respect isn't confronting someone else. It's being honest with yourself about what you actually feel. Signal 2: you can't say no, so you build an excuse instead. You could just say, no, I don't want to do that. Simple, clean, honest. But we don't. Instead, we say we already have plans. Or we're not feeling well. Or work has been insane lately. We look for an outside reason to justify the no because the no by itself doesn't feel like enough. And that's the problem, right there. If you believe that, I don't want to, isn't a sufficient reason, you're telling yourself that your own wants don't carry weight. That your preferences need external backup to be legitimate. That you, on your own, are not enough of a reason. Nietzsche believed that a strong individual is someone who can act on their own will, without needing the world's permission first. You not wanting something? That is the reason. Full stop. When you hide your real answer, because you're scared of disappointing someone, you're not being considerate. You're making yourself smaller. And you do it so automatically, you barely even notice anymore. Signal 3: you change who you are to earn someone's approval. You start out with a direction. Your own taste, your own opinions, your own way of doing things. Then you notice what someone else responds to. And slowly, subtly, you adjust. You tweak your tone. You hide your real preferences. You soften the opinion you actually hold. And when they respond positively, you feel relieved. But here's what's happening underneath that. You're using someone else's reaction as your compass. And over time, that makes it genuinely hard to know what you actually think. What you actually like, what you actually want. Nietzsche called this one of the most dangerous things that can happen to a person. He called it self-loss. You're physically present, but there's no center to you anymore. Your core has been replaced by a mirror, endlessly reflecting back whatever gets the best response. And here's the part that stings. The approval you're working so hard for? It's not even going to the real you. It's going to the character you're performing. Appreciation is wonderful. Wanting to be liked is completely human. But when you erase yourself to earn it, the applause lands on an empty stage. Signal 4: someone treats you badly. And your first instinct is to understand them. They were cold to you. They broke a promise. They said something that cut deep. And within seconds, your mind starts running defense for them. They've been really stressed lately. That's just how they are, it's not personal. They probably had a hard childhood. I should be more understanding. Now, that kind of empathy? It's actually beautiful. The capacity to consider someone else's inner world is a real gift. But stay with me here. When that empathy kicks in automatically, every single time, and its only job is to soften your own pain and talk you out of your feelings, that's not empathy. That's a defense mechanism, because if you acknowledge you're hurt, things get awkward. The relationship gets complicated, so it's just easier to understand them instead. Nietzsche said that real strength is being able to hold both things at once. You can understand why someone acted the way they did, and still acknowledge that it hurt you. Those two things are not in conflict. Both can be true, but most of us instinctively validate the first one and erase the second. And the moment you erase your own pain to preserve someone else's image, you've disrespected yourself. Signal 5: you shrink yourself before anyone else can. You're about to share an idea. Tell someone what you think. Talk about something you accomplished. And before the first real sentence is out, you hear yourself say, I could be totally wrong, but this is probably dumb. I don't really know that much about this, but it's not a big deal or anything. Why? Because if you lower the bar yourself first, no one else can disappoint you by lowering it for you. It's a preemptive strike against rejection. And I get it. It feels like humility. But humility and self-diminishment are not the same thing. Humility means knowing your limits honestly. Self-diminishment means announcing them before anyone even asks, as a way of managing the fear that someone, somewhere, might think less of you. The problem is, it works. You do get to avoid that specific sting. But over time, you are literally rehearsing smallness. Every time you pre-deflate yourself, your brain files that away. The internal image you build of yourself is made out of every I don't really know, and it's probably nothing you've ever said. Nietzsche was direct about this. Knowing what you carry, knowing what you've done, knowing what you think. And saying it plainly? That's not arrogance. That's honesty. Don't water yourself down before you even get started. Signal 6: you can't be alone, so you fill every quiet moment. The second it gets quiet, you reach for your phone. You text someone. You put something on in the background. Anything to break the silence. It might look like boredom, but Nietzsche saw it differently. He believed that an inability to sit in solitude is actually a signal that being with yourself feels threatening. And here's why that happens. When you're alone and quiet, thoughts come up. Thoughts about your life. About the gap between where you were and where you want to be. About choices you've made. About things you've been avoiding. That's uncomfortable, so you bury it under noise. But when you keep doing that, you never get to know yourself. And someone who doesn't know themselves doesn't know what they deserve. They don't know what feels right versus what just feels familiar. So when someone comes along, they just accept it, good or bad, because they have no internal reference point. Nietzsche didn't see solitude as loneliness. He saw it as the only place where you can actually meet yourself. And the truth is this. Only someone who is comfortable in their own company can truly choose, from a place of clarity, who else belongs in their life. Signal 7: deep down, you don't believe you deserve better. This is the root. This is where all 6 of the others grow from. Suppressing your feelings, not being able to say no, performing for approval, excusing people who hurt you, shrinking before you speak, running from silence. Underneath all of it, there's usually one quiet, stubborn belief. I'm not sure I actually deserve more than this. And where does that come from? Sometimes it's years of being treated a certain way, until that treatment started to feel normal. Sometimes it's growing up in an environment where your needs always came second. Sometimes it's one relationship, or one season of life, that taught you not to expect too much. Whatever the source, when that belief takes root, it doesn't matter how much your circumstances change. You recreate the same patterns. Because if something genuinely good shows up, it feels wrong, unfamiliar, unsafe, so you push it away without even meaning to. Nietzsche said that value is not something given to you from the outside. It's something you assign to yourself. Nobody can make you feel worthy. But the moment you start treating yourself like someone who matters, something real begins to shift. Not because the world suddenly becomes different, but because you do. Now, before we wrap up, I have to address something directly. Because listening to these 7 signals, you might be thinking, wait. So this is my fault? I got hurt and now you're saying I did it to myself? No, that is not what this is. If someone treated you badly, that is on them. Full stop. Their behavior, their responsibility. This is not about blame. This is about patterns. The cause of your pain may absolutely live in someone else's choices. But the key to stopping that pain from repeating? That key is in your hands. And there's one more thing I want to say, because I think it matters. A lot of people read Nietzsche and walk away thinking he was cold. Hard. All about ruthless individualism and never bending for anyone. I don't see it that way. I think what Nietzsche was actually after wasn't toughness. It was honesty. Radical, unflinching honesty with yourself. The courage to look at what you're actually feeling instead of suppressing it. To acknowledge what you actually want instead of performing. To admit where it actually hurts instead of explaining it away. That, to Nietzsche, was the truest form of strength. We tend to perform toughness. I'm fine. It doesn't bother me. I'm over it. But Nietzsche's version of strength looks completely different. It's being able to say, that hurt me. It's being able to say, I don't want to. It's being able to say, I want more than this. That kind of honesty? That is the most powerful form of self-respect there is. So here's what I want to leave you with. Think back through those 7 signals. The moments you put someone else's comfort in front of your own feelings. The times you built an excuse instead of just saying no. The ways you made yourself smaller before anyone else could. The moments you erased your own pain to make room for someone else's story. If these weren't accidents, if these were patterns, then ask yourself honestly, who has been the most disrespectful person in your life? You don't have to overhaul your entire life today. Just try one thing. Say what you actually think, without the, I could be wrong, at the front of it. Say no once, without an explanation. Let yourself feel hurt, even if only in private. Without immediately talking yourself out of it. Because the relationship you have with yourself sets the template for every other relationship you will ever have. Start taking yourself seriously. That's where everything changes. And maybe the most radical thing you can do today isn't changing how someone else treats you. It's changing how you treat you.